Good morning and welcome to Morning Java, brought to you as always by GetGo Cafe and Market, where right now, Dale, they're doing their hot dog specials. You know it's all beef hot dogs with GetGo right now.
Yeah, and I'm a classic guy. I want mustard. I want maybe a little bit of onion on there.
No ketchup? No ketchup?
Oh, no ketchup.
What is wrong with you?
No ketchup.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. You know what? We're just going to get past that and talk about the game.
Ketchup's for like 6-year-olds.
Excuse you. Well, that's why you have all the gray hair.
You're 6.
Anyways, so let's talk about the Steelers. They came out with the victory, but that wasn't the big story. The story was Devon Bush showing up and showing out in the first half. He had 10 first-half tackles. Big night for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you kind of expect from a guy who you trade up and get in with the 10th overall pick. It was very reminiscent of Ryan Shazier's first preseason game here. I believe he also had 10 tackles in that game against the Buffalo Bills. He had an interception as well. Devon Bush missed one of those.
It was very close.
It would have been negated anyways
right.
by illegal hands to the face. But all in all, I mean, I think he did everything that you'd want him to do out there.
And what I talked to Tomlin about after the game in his press conference, he said he was very impressed with how he wasn't concerned about the productivity, but about the communication, about the demeanor. And he said the entire time he was very confident and very happy and content with the way that Bush was commanding the field, being on there, playing his assignments, and he didn't ever seem to waver in what he had to do.
Yeah, I know a lot of people on social media got upset. Well, you know, the Buccaneers went right down the field on their opening drive. Well, that was Tampa Bay's first-team offense against a lot of second-team or even younger guys out there for the Steelers. So that wasn't a true representation of the Steelers' defense.
And they don't prep for these games.
And there's no prep at all for these games. So I thought really Devon Bush was all over the football field making tackles. He had a big series on, I believe, the second possession where he had the third down stop short of the sticks.
Yep.
And then on fourth down, the Buccaneers went for it. He knifes into the backfield and helps make the play in the backfield to turn the ball over on downs. That's what you want out of this guy. Plays.
As far as first nights, this is a very good one for Devon Bush. Okay, Dale, let's talk about the offense because it really picked up once you saw Rudolph get out there. Dobbs moved the ball a bit, but Rudolph put the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, I thought Josh Dobbs did some good things out there, especially with his legs. He made a couple of plays with his legs, and that to me is that extra added dimension that he gives you. Not that Mason Rudolph can't run a little bit. We saw him buy some time on his touchdown pass to Gentry in the back of the end zone. But I thought he delivered some good balls. And, you know, you saw James Washington with both quarterbacks actually make some plays out there that were impressive. I think that's the big step that he needs to take. We saw a lot of plays out of him in last year's preseason as well. But he seems like a much different guy this year. He's much more confident and much more polished. He was one of the best players on the field tonight.
I think he might have been, the Steelers' best player on the field if it wasn't for Devon Bush. He came out, he had 4 catches, I think, for 84 yards and a touchdown.
And very limited playing.
And very limited. Yeah, they got him out of there after the first half was over. But Washington, I asked him about his release because that to me was the biggest thing about his play. He was coming off the line so clean even when they pressed him, and he credited Joe Hayden for his progress. He said his footwork is insane, and having to learn how to get around him has allowed me to grow so much. I think that's a huge sign for James Washington and Mason Rudolph being able to see the field. And I'd say, looking at practices, I missed the Tuesday practice, but he sort of struggled a little bit the past few practices coming after last week. And you saw tonight, he looked very strong.
Yeah, he was very poised in the pocket, made a lot of plays, not just with his arm, but just kind of, you could see him kind of manipulating the defense and doing the things that you need to do.
Going through your reads.
Yeah, the back shoulder throw to James Washington was something that they talked about. Let's go back to.
They've never done that before.
No, never ever. But he just had a really solid night all around.
Okay, Dale. So let's talk about things that didn't go well. They did win the game, but of course, it's preseason. A lot of things to work on moving forward.
For sure. And a couple of the younger guys struggled a little bit. Justin Lane had to play a lot of snaps in this game because the Steelers had a bunch of cornerbacks who were nicked up a little bit. And he struggled. I thought he made some nice plays out there. He did some good things, but there was a lot of bad. And he admitted to me after the game that, he was a little bit nervous out there, and he maybe not quite prepared for the speed of the game. I think he'll be much better off the next time around. He'll learn from this process. And Chuks Okorafor, who had been a guy who looked good at training camp, couple of holding penalties.
Got eaten up.
Had the castle stormed against him a couple of times, and he's got to be better than that.
Yeah, the offensive line, especially, we know the starters weren't going to play. The only starter that did play was Filer.
Right.
But the thing was, still, you expected these backups. I wrote about this during the week, was that they've been looking well in camp. Let's see how this translates, and it really didn't in this game,
Yeah, and
especially
here's
early.
the thing: I try not to get too upset about something like that, because most of the time these guys aren't going to be on the field together. They're going to be out there maybe one guy at a time, at worst 2 guys at a time. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have 4 of them out there together at any one time, and I think that matters in a situation like this, because you're not necessarily used to playing beside the guy you're playing beside on a certain situation. So I think that may not have been a true representation of what these guys really are.
That's definitely fair. Back on Justin Lane, this is one of the was very interesting was the fact of how many snaps he got, and you saw all those mistakes, times where Chris Godwin had an easy out and Justin Lane wasn't even on him, and you see Lane. We talked about it during camp. He said, he's still learning the playbook, he's still getting adjusted. Like you said, that nervousness and not being sure, that's going to lead to those kind of mental errors. Now it's a question of how do you respond to the mental errors? How do you come up in this week of practice before your next game? That's where I think we're going to see some more mettle of Justin Lane.
And he'll be tested next week against the Chiefs.
And